Well, this real estate sales script came back and bit this agent. So a couple weeks ago, I made a video about how I don't like the seller script when it comes to a seller asking for a decreased commission. And basically the agent says something along the lines of, don't you want a really good negotiator on your side while you're trying to sell your home? And the reason I don't like this is because it can erode trust down the road. And lo and behold, I talked to an agent today where that's exactly what happened. So here's the story. So basically, he used that sales script in the listing appointment. The sellers wanted to pay less of a commission. And he basically said, oh, don't you want someone who can fight for you and is a really good negotiator, blah, 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 blah. Sellers end up signing at the higher commission. Fast forward, house doesn't go anywhere. Part of it, it's overpriced, a lot of different factors. Ultimately, let's face it, it's the market that we're in, right? They finally get an offer. It's a lower offer, not a terrible offer. And according to this agent, it's actually pretty close to where the house should have started. So he takes it to the sellers and he says, hey, I think you guys should really take this offer. And they lost their minds, rightfully so. They basically took his script, spun it around, and threw it right back in his face. Because let's face it, he sold the whole process that he was such a good negotiator that they weren't going to have to take anything less than list price. At least that's what the sellers heard at the listing appointment. These are the problems with the scripts. I don't like them. They don't take into account market conditions. They don't take into account seller expectations. All they do is get a seller to sign the contract. So at the end of the day, this agent now has probably got this deal done. It sounds like the sellers are going to take it, but the big problem is they're not going to ever use him again because he's totally demolished any trust he had, because he purported that he was going to do all this because the script told him to. So the moral of the story is, don't use these silly scripts. They don't take into account anything. A script is really a two-dimensional thing for a three-dimensional world.